Hey everyone, it's Larry with My Florida Wildlife. I'm doing my first video on my survival fishing kit that I've built for the Pathfinder School. And I wanted to discuss a little bit about, the mentality behind why I'm using a flashlight as opposed to the typical plastic container. For the most part, this is pretty waterproof, but it also affords me a lot more luxuries than your typical, plastic fishing kit. For one, it's made out of aircraft aluminum, of course. Those of you that are familiar with the Maglites, so it's going to last, a good lifetime. The other thing about it is, it's already got some of the jimping on, so that helps hold the line in place, and it's just a good, solid container. Now, for those of you that have watched Dual Survival, you've seen Dave, of course, start a fire with a parabolic lens. So, not stepping away from that aspect, you take the lid off, then the one thing that I have retained in here is the parabolic lens. So, some dry tinder or some jute twine, which I'll show you later, can be used. Point it at the sun, focus it right through there, and you can use that to start your, make a coal. So we'll set that off to the side here. And the other thing is, because this is aircraft aluminum, it's not magnetic. So what I've done is I have epoxied silver compass on the back side of the the lens that went over the top, and I spray painted that black as well, of course. But worst case scenario, if you do get lost, you can create a lanyard by just using the paracord that you have on there. Flip this around so it's to the outside, and just screw it back onto the front. And you can carry it around your neck, and then you have your general direction just by looking down at the compass. And as you see, it's not affected at all by the aluminum. So that works well in that situation as well. Now on the back side of this, well, let me go over, of course, the cordage that I have on it. I have 25 feet of paracord, and it's noosed right up here at the top with this little knot here. Reason being is because of the stoutness of this particular fishing kit. If I was to hook something fairly large, I don't want this to be tied to my wrist, because it'll probably rip my hand off. So I added this extra length of paracord, one, because it's paracord, two, I could tie it off to a tree, so if it does get yanked out of my hand, then I'm not going to lose it. I'll have a way to retrieve it, and the paracord will take the beating instead of my hand. That being said, on the underside of this, I have about 50-60 yards of bank line, number 18, and then underneath here, I have about the same amount in 50-pound test spider wire, braided wire. So that's what I'll use for all the other stuff. So if we go to the end cap here, take that off there. The end cap, I have taken epoxy resin and filled the back side of it. And I use this for my handhold for the bow drill, but ultimately what happened is it did melt through, so I'm going to try maybe some JB weld or something in there that'll hold it. Plus it is it's a little small to hang on to for my hands. I like something a little heavier, but it'll work in a pinch if need be. And also within that is 3 large treble hooks, and that's for hooking the catfish and pretty much anything else that's down at the bottom. So I use those as well. Now inside of here, of course, is the ball of jute twine. That'll be used with the parabolic lens, or to make bird nest material or anything else for the bow drill or anything like that. Then we'll get to the rest of the stuff in here. Let's go ahead and set that up there. And what I have here is a bag of sinkers, and some jig heads and some swivels, and some tiny little jig heads, some rattling, some swivels there. I have a steel leader, and then I have a rubber frog to go across the surface of the water, and the little bag that it's contained in. Get the rest of the stuff out here and show you. In here I carry a topwater popper that I can use for catching bass and other topwater fish. Fairly decent size. Go for the larger fish since I have the ability to, handle them with the larger line and heavier line. And then last but not least, of course, let me get this stuff out of the way here so you can see, is my hooks. They are quite a mess, and I'm working on finding something that will ultimately, there's a little fish there. I got a little feather jig. Here's a little spider for the top water. Nice little spider there. Got a couple Aberdeen hooks, some weedless hooks. This is the hook that I use for the frog. Bait it through one side, and then I got some heavy duty, circle hooks that work well here in Florida. The idea behind the circle hook is that ultimately you don't really have to set the hook. That the way they spin when they go in the fish, or if it tries to spit it out, it just kind of hooks itself. So you don't really have to do a lot of work with those, but they are pretty heavy duty hooks, as you see in my hand there. So folks, that's pretty much my survival fishing kit. You got all the gear there. Again, you got the treble hooks, you got the lead. You pretty much catch just about anything. Lots of the the number 12 Aberdeens. You can put those on a line and just throw a bunch of grubs and stuff on them if you're not going to eat them. You can tackle just about anything. So, questions or comments, any other ideas you can think of throwing in there. If there's some little type of container maybe that I can house my hooks in that's small enough that'll fit inside the tube, that would be great. If you guys can come up with anything, just shoot me an email or send me a message on Facebook. Other than that, I'll chat with you soon, and hope everybody has a great holiday. Take care, and Merry Christmas. Bye.